You're listening to the Radio Wammo Breakfast, only on Kiwi.
Yes, only our second episode of Wine Vault Radio with Jason Bryant from Wine Vault TV. Good morning to you, Jason.
Good morning, Wammo. It's nice to see you back.
Thank you very much. What's the address? winevaulttv.com or
.com? Yeah, it will be .co.nz shortly, because I know that people that resonates a bit more with Kiwis and stuff like that. But
it's funny that, isn't it?
Yep.
But then the .com has that international kind of, doesn't matter.
And it is supposed to be about kind of New Zealand wine across the globe, and not just strictly for the New Zealand customer.
Yeah.
So they can see and hopefully benefit from wine reviews about New Zealand wine.
Yeah.
So that's why we chose .com initially.
Which is also kind of what this wee slot here is about as well, as
absolutely,
as looking at wines and discussing them and having a taste and figuring out what life's all about, really.
And today we've got a Central Otago Pinot Noir, which is widely available from kind of supermarkets and fine wine retailers, which is Raw and Meg from Mount Difficulty. Retails for about $26-30.
Have you been to Mount Difficulty?
I have indeed.
It's a mountain? It exists?
Or
is it just the vineyards called Mount Difficulty?
The vineyards, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know whether there is I presume that
there probably will be.
Yeah. There's a mountain, stone and kind of paddock for every wine.
Yeah.
Cloudy Bay and Bay this and Rock that.
That's right.
Every geographic kind of location.
I suppose they try to evoke the landscape into the name of the wine and therefore the wine itself.
Especially Central Otago. I mean, for me, I was saying this yesterday, that you've got that really rugged, raw landscape of mountains, and then you've got a Pinot Noir, which is such a soft, supple, feminine kind of grape.
Yeah.
Contradicts one another and is completely at the other end of the scale. And that's what I find fascinating about Central Otago Pinot. Why does the
Pinot Noir like Central Otago?
You get this big diurnal difference in temperature. That's the kind of variation between day and night. So it kind of gets up to kind of like 35 during the summer, and then it drops down to kind of like 14, 15 at night. And so that traps the freshness of the grape and the acidity in there, and that's what Pinot really likes. It's a very thin-skinned grape. Needs to be hand-picked generally, otherwise you start to get pretty poor fruit.
Yeah.
So that's why Pinot tends to be a bit more expensive than Sauvignon, and which can be machine harvested.
Just because it can quite quickly turn into a disaster.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So it's they all say that good wine is made in the vineyard.
Yeah.
And I think that probably holds true.
Cheers.
You've got to have really good fruit to make good wine.
Okay.
Now, Pinot Noir, especially from Central Otago, you tend to get kind of a bit more minerality, spiciness, racy kind of acid with bright red kind of cherry fruit and red fruit, especially that dominates the kind of the aromas and also the palate.
And you can see through it in the glass quite easily as well.
Because it's a light kind of delicate grape and it's got a thin skin, which is where you get all your colour from. You tend to get a light coloured red wine, and you should be able to see your fingers through it. And that's my test.
I can see, yes, indeed. It's a lovely colour. That's very, as you say, kind of a cherry, almost raspberry.
Yeah.
Sort of look. Yeah.
So you're picking it up, aren't you?
Well, slowly.
And what do you get on the nose?
Getting
Get a bit of oak.
Yeah. Has it been oaked?
Yeah.
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 It's spent some time in oak barrels. How long would it be in oak barrels?
I should imagine that this entry level will be in kind of maybe 2-3 year old oak for maybe 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
So not
There's not a long time.
No. Because it's entry level, it'd be the kind of the lesser quality fruit, because they make Mount Difficulty, and then they make 2 single vineyard wines as well, which is all of their premium fruit.
Now, one thing I do hear about Pinot Noirs is that you don't want to have them too young. And so a 2000, you wouldn't want a 2009 right now.
No, you wouldn't, because they would have harvested in March, April.
Yeah.
And if they're released now, that's far too young.
When is release time?
Release for a Pinot should be kind of like minimum of a year. so that it spent either 6 months in oak and then 6 months in bottle, just to kind of get itself together, get over the bottle
Would you
shock.
find any 2009s on a shelf anywhere now?
I hope not.
No, okay.
It would horrify me.
Yeah.
It would probably mean the vineyard's in trouble and they want to get some quick cash flow.
Yeah.
Generally, they're released kind of like the following year. So
there's a good tip. There's a warning bell right there.
Yeah, so you empty the barrels so you can get the new harvest straight into the barrels you've just used, basically, so that there's no time lapse between emptying and refilling. So that's why they tend to keep kind of a lot of wines in barrel for a year.
What else are we getting on the nose here, do you think?
I do get that kind of bright red kind of cherry, almost burnt kind of cherry character. And also I get that kind of, for me, almost a slaty kind of mineral character.
What do you mean by that? Is that rocky or something? That's...
Yeah, do you know, have you ever, I don't know, I have, but picked out a stone out of a river and tasted it?
Given it a good...
Yeah, good licking kind of, and smelt it, you get this kind of really kind of, not flinty, but kind of river stone kind of character.
Right.
I don't know, we eat mud and kind of all sorts of leaves and everything to make sure that we understand what's in a wine. I know that's a bit wine nerdy.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
There's a great place in Cromwell. It's kind of like a barn.
Oh yeah. The big experience or wine experience.
It's a cafe as well, wine
yeah.
experience, and you can go into the smelling room.
Yeah.
And then all along the wall we've got different smells. You know, old boot.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. Wouldn't want my old boot. Doesn't smell like much like wine.
Yeah.
So yeah, should we give it a taste?
Yeah.
It's one of the most unattractive things about wine tasting.
It's the sound.
It's the sound.
Yeah.
But you swirl it around your mouth, you kind of aerate it, draw it in.
It's quite
some
dry.
air. Very dry. And I've got to say, in balance, it's a pretty damn good wine for like $26 entry level Pinot Noir.
It's interesting you say entry level to $26. So,
Yeah, I know.
You know, most people's wine budgets on a day-to-day basis are up to $20.
For me, I'd say up to 15.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Why 26? You know,
because the place, they've got to repay their mortgage.
Yeah.
On their land. Also, they've got a hand harvest, and so you need a lot of kind of extra manpower in and wages and everything. And Pinot Noir is such a finicky, almost it's the female of grapes, thin-skinned.
Careful.
Yeah, I know. But it's beautiful when made well. And you've got to make it well to get any good kind of quality wine out of it. And $26 is kind of entry level Pinot Noir from Central Otago. You'll probably get some from Marlborough at $20.
I see what you mean by also tasting at this time of the morning. You mentioned this last time,
Yeah.
the last episode. Tasting at this time in the morning. I mean, I had breakfast at 6:30 this morning. It was a long time ago. You know, I don't have anything going on recently, so this is completely on a clear sort of palate.
Clean palate.
Yeah.
It's the best way to taste wine. And kind of, especially at 9 o'clock in the morning, you haven't generally had 30 coffees, and so that's why it's quite a nice time to actually taste wine.
What I am liking about this is not too light. You know, sometimes you can have a Pinot and you don't even know you're drinking it. There's a little bit going on here. There's a little bit of guts. You know, there's you know, you can really you got some tannins going on there.
I actually prefer this to their single vineyard Pinots at $75. So $50
Really?
difference. Yeah, I like the dryness in it. I like the fruit expression, and to me, I think this offers much better value than $75 kind of pipe clean Long Gully Pinot.
That's something that we're hearing recently, that your $75 or $100 does not necessarily tell you what's going on inside the bottle.
No, and that's one of the problems. And it's very hard for the customer to discern the value of a wine and the quality of a wine relative to its price, unless they've tasted a lot of wine and tasted a lot of that wine. So I just go out and kind of experiment, kind of taste a few Central Otago Pinots at that kind of entry level, and if you kind of get to an anniversary or kind of really special occasion, then go out and get one of those kind of expensive bottles if you want, and crack that open and taste it alongside something. Or
even with this $26 Mount difficulty, you're probably going to want to have it with a meal. Any suggestions?
Lamb. I mean, is what I would do. Roast lamb or
Good time in the spring.
Spring. Kind of we've got quite a few of them running around the countryside right now.
Can't wait to eat some of them. Yeah.
This isn't for the vegetarians.
Not at all.
But probably lamb would be my kind of ultimate dish to have this with.
Okay.
I think it's dry enough, it's got enough structure in there, and would complement lamb really, really well.
Cool. All right. Well, we were just talking about the Roaring. Was it not?
Roaring Meg?
It is Roaring Meg.
Yep.
What a great name. Love that. Which I think is a river. I know.
Yeah, it's a river.
It is a river.
Yeah.
Pinot Noir, Central Otago, 2008.
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect. WineVaultTV.com. Soon to be .co.nz as well. Yep. Thanks, Jason, for another session of Wine Vault Radio.
Pleasure, Wammo, and I'll see you next week.
Will do.